people love to blame everyone else for our problems. And sure, history has done us dirty. Colonialism, apartheid, systematic oppression. We've been through hell and back. I'm sure Satan could even look at our history and go, damn. But at what point do we stop pointing fingers and start looking in the mirror? Because let's be honest, a lot of what's going on in our communities today isn't just the result of past injustices. It's us.
We have a problem with the black man in South Africa. We have a serious problem. What we see here, we put the colors, the races of perpetrators that we've arrested. All the green, as you can see, almost everything is green here, which means almost everything is black that is committing crime. Out of total of 60,000 cases, criminals that were arrested between the age of 16 and 25 years old, 16 and 25 years old, we arrested 60,000 criminals in this past financial year, in this period of 5 years, I beg your pardon, not in financial year, this 5-year period.
We are the ones making our own neighborhoods unlivable. We are the ones trashing the place. We are the ones robbing, shooting, and trafficking each other. We are the ones rapping about killing each other and calling it culture. We are the ones swimming with OnlyFans girls in hot tubs. We are the ones impregnating the little girls. And when someone like me calls it out, I'm a sellout, a coconut, or a racist. And you know what's crazy? A white person could say everything I'm about to say, and they'd get crucified faster than if their name was found in the Epstein files. But when a black person says it, silence, or worse, self-hate. Well, let's talk about it anyway. Because whether we like it or not, the truth doesn't care about your feelings, and neither does Summer Sambit. Let's start with crime, because apparently we've got a PhD in it. In South Africa, crime statistics read like a horror novel. Murder, carjackings, housebreak, it's like GTA but with real consequences. And who are the victims? Mostly black people. Who are the perpetrators? Mostly black people. But somehow the government is the problem? The problem is that we've normalized criminality ourselves too. We don't snitch. We don't call out gangsters, we protect them. We let them rule the streets, terrorize our families, kidnap our children, and then complain that the police isn't doing anything about it. Bruh, you live next door to the guy with an AK-47 and an underground human trafficking business, and you're out here pretending not to see it. I'm sorry, but if I was a policeman, I wouldn't go there either, because you know what's going on. Come tell me first. And then we're out here pretending it's someone else's fault. The government isn't raising criminals. We are. We are raising sons without discipline, without role models, without fathers and self-respect. And then there's xenophobia, because apparently black unity only exists until someone from another African country moves into the neighborhood. And then suddenly it's time to burn their shops, steal their goods, kidnap them, and blame them for our problems. South Africans love to say foreigners are taking their jobs. My guy, if a dude from Angola with no connections and barely any money can cross the border and outwork you at your own game, then I don't know, man, maybe you're the problem. Foreigners set up businesses in townships and work their asses off, while locals sit around complaining. If a Somali shop owner, for example, can figure out how to make a business thrive in your neighborhood, but you can't, then who's really the problem? Speaking of businesses, let's talk about the sad state of black entrepreneurship. We cry about wanting more black-owned businesses, but when they exist, we don't support them. We want discounts. We want free handouts. We'll get jealous. We'll happily drop thousands on Gucci. But when it's a black-owned clothing brand, for example, suddenly it's too expensive. You know what else? Black businesses are notorious for bad service anyway. Customer service is a foreign language in half the black-owned spots you walk into. And instead of fixing this issue, we act like holding each other accountable is some kind of betrayal. We have no problem with spray painting farmers' cars kill the Boer. But the moment a white person would do something even similar, we demand him to be in jail in seconds. And because of that, I want to talk about the elephant in the room. The fact that black fathers are disappearing faster than power during stage 6. We've normalized the absence of fathers like it's no big deal. But it is a big deal. Statistics don't lie, sweetie. Fatherless homes breed crime, poverty, and broken families. We love to blame the system, but at some point, men need to stop running away from their responsibilities. If you made a kid, then raise the damn kid. Stop being another statistic. And to the women who pick deadbeat men and then act shocked when they leave, what did you expect? Choosing a guy with no ambition and no morals because he had good vibes is like hiring a guy who can't swim to be a lifeguard. I'm not going to lie here. There is a big problem we have to talk about. Self-sabotage. I mean, come on. How many times have we heard the phrase, I could have been somebody? Or, I had a dream, but life just kept me down. It's like we've got a national anthem of excuses and we all sing along. But what are we doing about it? Nothing at all. Take a look at your local taxi rank or shipin. I'm not judging, but you know what I'm talking about. What do you see? Groups of people who are perfectly content talking about the latest drama, complaining about how the government is useless, how they're getting underpaid, how nobody is out there doing anything to improve their situation. We've got a culture of waiting for someone else to fix it. The government, they're too busy pickpocketing kickbacks and putting more potholes on the road to help us. The church, well, we can pray all we want, but faith without action is like daydreaming. Here's the hard truth. We can't blame the system forever. Sure, the system is jacked up. We all know that. But how many times have you heard someone say, I'm waiting for the right opportunity to come up? Tell me about it. Waiting for a chance to go to a reality show or catch a lucky break. That's the black mindset. Instead of getting up on your ass and making your own damn opportunity, instead of waiting for someone else to hand you a golden ticket, you want to become your own problem. Because you've gotten so comfortable with making excuses, it's become part of your very DNA. I'll give you an example. Every weekend, it's like we all decided that Sunday morning church service wasn't enough of a vibe. So what do? Hit the groove on Saturday night, do the most ridiculous dance moves, and top it off with a brawl. Because hey, it wouldn't be a proper weekend without some kind of chaos, right? Even though Elimination Chamber is tomorrow morning and John Cena could very well win it. Why wait? We could make our own Elimination Chamber in our local tavern. You've got the guy who tried to show off his new dance move, slip, and then now he needs stitches. You've got the auntie who thought she could fit into her old boots and then ended up twisting her ankle and now expects the nurse to fix it within 5 minutes, even though you can clearly see the line of people waiting for basic treatment. You've also got the other black guy with the bloodshot eyes who's just a bit tipsy and then proceeds to start an argument about why he shouldn't be waiting for too long. It's chaos, it's a chaotic vibe, but somehow it's become tradition. In the emergency room, for example, in the public hospitals, if you listen closely, you're going to hear stories of the previous night battles. Some from the local tavern, some from the night before the bar stool decided to fight back. It's like we are competing for most ridiculous injury of the week. Because there's always that one guy who was definitely winning the fight. Until his opponent managed to trip him over a pothole. That's South African hospital culture at its finest. And believe me, it's all black people representing the front lines. Tell me if I'm telling lies. Then because we all vomited our money away in the taverns and grooves, we can't pay the bills, Eskom hits you with load shedding, and suddenly every black person in the neighborhood becomes a self-appointed activist. Listen, there's this thing about load shedding that's uniquely South African. When it happens, no one can simply accept it for what it is. A national man-made disaster, a scam. Instead, we find someone to blame, which typically turns into a very heated discussion about why the electricity is off. And 9 times out of 10, guess who the loudest complainers are? You guessed it, the black people. We'll stand outside with our hands on our hips, shaking our heads and asking, how is it possible that the whole neighborhood has no power, but the guy who's got 13 illegal connections still has lights on? But let's be honest for a second. How are we complaining about load shedding when half of us don't even pay for the electricity? That's right. We'll happily moan about Eskom's incompetence, while our neighbors, who definitely don't have a degree in electrical engineering, are running a power line across 4 backyards and illegally connecting to the grid. And then there's always that one guy who connects his entire shack to the main line without paying for a single unit, and every month his lights are blindingly bright while the rest of the block is in the dark. How is that fair? But instead of taking responsibility, we're going to stand on the porch like the experts we are, complaining about how unfair life is, destroying the mayor's door. It's almost like we're saying, yes, I've been stealing electricity for months, but why is Eskom the one that can't get their act together? Meanwhile, we've got that one uncle who's out here changing meters and making it work, but somehow can't even fix the roof when it starts leaking. The priorities are skewed here, my friends. But don't worry, illegal connections, am I right? Even if you don't have electricity, Ubab Muzi in the neighborhood is going to make a small plan for you, Angit. Because in South Africa, you don't have to go far to find someone who's perfected the art of getting electricity, despite the fact that he's the one dude in the neighborhood who doesn't pay for it at all. I'm not even joking here. You'll have someone who doesn't want to spend a cent on electricity, but expects the lights to shine brighter than his neighbor's house with a generator. This is the same guy who, instead of paying for services, goes out and finds a way to create illegal power connections under the cover of darkness and somehow gets away with it. Are you kidding me? We've got kids running around with extension cables and DIY electrical kits acting like they're electricians in training. They'll go and tap into main supply, setting up their own little grid in their yard, all so they don't have to pay Eskom. Shut the hell up! You see, the trick is simple. Don't pay for anything, but act like the world owes you everything. That's the mindset we have. That's the black entrepreneurial spirit. And guess what? Most of the time, we're the same people complaining about the problems that come about due to our mindset. Here's the issue though. The guy who's running his illegal electrical setup isn't just stealing power. That's the surface level problem. The real issue is that the system can't sustain this. There's no proper regulation or security in place, and before long, the whole neighborhood's power grid starts to look like a makeshift spiderweb of cables running across roads and trees. No wonder half the block can't watch TV during load shedding. It's an age-old issue that's gone unnoticed for far too long. We are all so good at complaining about the problems in this country, the constant blackouts, the trafficking syndicates. But what's the real reason we are in this mess? It's not Eskom. It's not that Eskom doesn't have enough power to supply us. It's because half the people in this country aren't paying the damn bills. Do you really think that every time load shedding hits, for example, it's purely the fault of the government? Come on, don't kid yourself like that. It's your community that keeps dodging paying for the things we use. And then we're out here blaming Eskom. It's a scam, yes. But saying it's corruption and mismanagement, whereas we know the truth is we've got people who can't even spare a couple of $100 for their monthly bill, is very insulting. Instead, we're going to moan about how the lights are off while we're sipping our third Castle Light and watching old soap operas on our illegal connections. You can't cry about load shedding when you've been hustling the system for years, and then the minute you don't get what you want, you're the first one to post on Facebook with what the F Eskom. We've got a lot to work on, okay? And the truth is the black community in South Africa has some dirty habits, very dirty habits and behaviors we need to seriously reconsider. Whether it's the hospital weekend visits, the load shedding complaints while stealing electricity ourselves, or it's just the constant sense of entitlement that seems to come with having an invisible right to everything without any responsibility, there is a lot of room for growth. And yet, in all this chaos, there is a chance to change this narrative. Because we can keep laughing about all the illegal connections, the bar fights, the pregnant little girls, the load shedding meltdowns, or we can start facing the hard facts. I say it's time to grow up as a black person. Take responsibility and stop complaining about the world when you've been part of the problem all along. Get it together. Your power, whether it's electricity, respect, or just plain common sense, it's in your hands. Think about it. How often do you hear someone say, Ish Makala, I didn't get that job because I'm black? Bruv, just stop. It's 2025, not 1987. Discrimination exists, yes, but are you going to get anywhere while constantly playing the victim? How many people in this country, black, white, colored, Indian, have overcome ridiculous odds to get ahead, even with the system stacked against them? Like Raymond Zondo, he was poor as hell. Now, he is one of the main judges of this country. If I'm not mistaken, he's the Chief Justice because he realized the real enemy wasn't his skin color, it was his mindset. I love how in the black community, we've got a PhD in blaming everyone and everything for our problems. It's like we all enrolled in the same university where the curriculum focuses solely on modules called blaming the system. The government, the schools, our neighbors, even the weather. If things are going bad, we can point a finger at anything and everything, even our new puppies. But let me ask you this. How many times have you blamed yourself for your own lack of success. It's okay, I'll wait. It's like a universal truth, you know. If you're a black person trying to get ahead, someone somewhere is going to try and pull you down. Umuntu omnyama akafuni ukubona umuntu omnyama oya phezulu. Umuntu omnyama akafuni ukubona umuntu omnyama oya phambili. Those words come from MT in his song Uyakhumbula Mngani Wami, which he made in, is it 2017? Man, that was a long time ago. I think I was about 6th grade. And back then, I honestly didn't know the impact of that song until now. And I was like, this is true. He wasn't just singing for fun. He was explaining the black mindset. How when he reached success, just like every other black person, there were people actively trying to pull him down instead of trying to be better than him. And then he was the problem all of a sudden. You make it big and suddenly everyone's got something negative to say about you. Ask me. Hey, when I reached 1,000 subscribers, the amount of hate emails I received, even in that live stream with the Colonel Chris Wyatt. If you didn't watch it, you should, by the way. That live stream I did about how Donald Trump saved this country as we know it. So much hate. Just trolls. And thanks for the love, for those that showed the love. But it's just an example. Look, and it's mostly black people that were doing that. If there were white people or people of color, of other colors, then it's very few. It was mostly black people. I know, I saw. Here's the thing I don't get though. We've got this lottery mentality. It's the dream of winning big. That one lucky break that will set us free. Everyone wants to win lotto. We've all seen it. The guy who spends more time buying lotto tickets than working on a skill. The girl who's hoping her Instagram is going to blow up and give her that influencer lifestyle. Or the dude who thinks is going to be the next big rapper without writing a single bar just because he doesn't want to go to college. It's the mentality of easy money. It's the biggest scam in our community. Get rich quick. Look. You see? Look, I get it. I also wanted to make it big and then I did. 15,000 subscribers. But let me tell you right now, that was not luck. That was a strategy. I had to turn my hoping into get strategy, hoping to get discovered, hoping someone would give me the job, hoping things would get better. That didn't work for me because hoping did not build my empire. I hustled, I put my head down and I grinded like God does. But I had to understand at the same time that not everybody is going to like me, and that was fine. If you're putting in 10% of the effort and expecting to get 100% of the reward, you are living in a Dragon Ball Z world. You want respect of the community? Then put the work to earn it. Don't think you're going to be the next Elon Musk from selling those cheap phone covers you ordered off AliExpress. Where did the community go that used to support one another? Where did the community go that used to protect each other? What happened to that thing of it takes a village to raise a child? Where did that go? Nowadays, we are letting our young girls be silenced and treated like disposable commodities. Where are the men in our communities? I'm talking about the fathers, the brothers, the uncles, the role models who should be stepping up to protect them. Instead, we have far too many men either looking for the other way or contributing to the main problem and creating more broken families. How many fathers are really sitting down with their daughters explaining the dangers of the world they live in? How many uncles are teaching the young men in their families to respect women, to stand up when they see a wrong being done? Instead, you'll hear someone say nonsense to his nephew like, "My man, when she's 13 years old, it's time to change that narrative. Stop that. Our girls need us to be their protectors, their advocates, and not just when it's convenient, but every damn day. We can't afford to wait for a miracle to come. We have to build a community where our girls are not treated like disposable pieces of chewing gum in some twisted video game. Let's face it. Because of us, our girls are at risk. And a lot of it is because we've got a culture that doesn't want us to talk about the real issues. We are too busy performing for social media. We are too busy arguing over nonsense. Too busy thinking that the government is gonna fix everything. While the kids are dying, literally and figuratively, trafficked, abused, forgotten. All the while, we turn a blind eye. But here's the thing. This is not someone else's problem. And it never will be. It's not some random community's issue. It's not just a tragedy happening to someone else's kid. It's happening right here in our own communities. Eningism, Africa. It's time for you to wake up. It's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to start protecting our own. Enough with the excuses. The world isn't going to stop for us. But we can make sure that we are the ones who are thriving. And it sure as hell isn't by sitting there and blaming apartheid. Let's get real. When we threw God out, we threw out discipline, We threw out self-control and responsibility. You can say whatever you want about religion, but one thing is clear. A community that loses its moral foundation loses its way. And tell me if I'm telling lies. We've replaced faith with hustle culture. We worship money now. We measure success by who has the most followers, the nicest rented Lamborghini, or the biggest butt. We promote corruption as just a part of the game. We promote materialism like it's the highest goal in life. And then we wonder why our kids have no values. A generation without spiritual grounding is a generation lost. Listen to that part again, and right now, we are lost. So what's the solution? Because trust me, I'm not just here to complain. I'm Summer Sambit. I give you solutions. Number one, personal accountability. Stop waiting for the government. Good people, stop waiting for handouts. Stop blaming the foreigners. Start fixing yourself first. If every individual is focused on being better, I'm telling you, the community would be so much better. Number two, build strong families. If you're a man, be a father. If you're a woman, choose better men. Simple. Let's stop the cycle of broken homes and fatherless kids, please. Number three, support black businesses the right way. Not just because they're black owned, but because they're good. If it's good, you support it. Not if they're not good, then demand better service. Don't just accept mediocrity. Number four, stop glorifying crime. The only thing gangster life gets you is an early funeral. The world does not respect criminals. The world respects discipline, hard work, and intelligence. Number five, bring back faith and morality. Whether it's through religion, philosophy, or community values you may have, we need to restore a moral code. Ubuntu, a society with no guiding principles, is a society destined to destroy itself. The truth hurts, but it's necessary. That's why I'm here. And that's why you should subscribe. Because if we don't start having these conversations, we'll keep going in circles like we always have been for 30 years, blaming, complaining, and achieving nothing. So the next time you hear someone blaming the government, the system, or even white people for everything, ask yourself, are they part of the problem or are they working on the solution? Because change starts with us, nobody else.